get your fucking ass up and eat a whole box of Cheez-Its. It seems like nobody these days wants to eat a whole box of Cheez-Its.
That's so true.
You have to surround yourself with people who want to eat a whole box of Cheez-Its.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. Almost at the end of our Jenny from the Block. We're doing the cell.
Almost at the end of the block?
At the end of the block, where the sidewalk ends, as the Shel Silverstein book of poems once said. I have an autographed copy of that where he signed it and he drew a stork and said, "To Matthew with love and a rotten egg." And then the stork was carrying a rotten egg. Shel Silverstein has terrifying author photos on the back covers of his book, if you've ever seen Shel Silverstein book.
I know I did. I kind of remember that as you're saying this. Yeah,
it's just like, oh, this is whimsical. You know, the Giving Tree or A Light in the Attic, and you turn around and it looks like this is a madman staring back at you.
Right.
We have the Mattitude Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Oldman.
Hello, everybody. We're recording on a Friday night.
Yes, I guess it would have been best practice going forward to just say, hey, Wednesdays are default days. And if we don't hear from one another, yes, we're still doing it because Eric is like...
I made an ass out of me and Matt.
Yeah, but like I could have checked in, you could have checked in, but like he's like, hey, we podcasting in 20 minutes? And I'm like, I'm in bed going, me, honk shoe.
No.
I had a nightgown and a sleep cap, and whenever I get up in the middle of the night, I was carrying a candle to look for things.
Sure.
Wee willy winkying all over the place. So we didn't do it. And then he had a thing yesterday. So now we're doing it Friday night, just in time for the weekend. We're doing The Cell this week, a movie I enjoy, but a movie that also I understand why somebody would not enjoy. It's
like me.
Yeah, see, there you go. This is going to be one of those thumbs up, thumbs down. And sure, here's the thing. It's not like we're reviewing the movie when we recap it, but it'll come out. It'll all wash out.
Yeah.
And then we've got one more Jennifer Lopez movie for next week, and then we'll let you know what's going on after that. And we've got some news first that's been, now that we're doing it on a Friday night, we've got a week's worth that's just been piling up. Let's start with the Thor teaser that came out. Mm-hmm. That all I know is from you and other people, fans were upset. I don't see, once again, I don't see these fans who are upset that the trailer hadn't come out yet.
Oh, Matt.
Not upset about the trailer.
No, upset that they were being withheld. The trailer was being denied.
Where do you go to find upset people? Because I see you and other people reacting. It's like, oh, everyone's upset that the Thor trailer still hasn't come out yet.
All you have to do, and now some of this is, I don't know, like, PTSD from when I worked at Marvel, and I would definitely see it firsthand because if we dared post anything that wasn't a new trailer for Infinity War and then Endgame, when those movies were coming out, it was like, we don't want this. We just want this trailer. And it's like this insatiable, give us this trailer. And then they're calm for like 2 weeks until like, where's the next big trailer for the next thing? Whether it be another trailer for the Avengers movie or like another big thing they know is coming. And so it's just basically that, like, knowing that, like, when there's a Miss Marvel trailer, all you have to do is click on Marvel's tweet of it to read half the comments be like, but where's the Thor trailer?
Why would you do that?
Why are we getting this before the Miss Marvel, before the Thor trailer? Well, maybe because the show premieres before Thor. Maybe, I don't know. That might be a clue. But yeah, it's stuff like that. All it is me looking at replies, not just to Marvel, but for fandom or IGN or anyone who tweets out these things. But I don't have to read it.
Right? No. But also, you don't have to read it, obviously. But do these people count because they're idiots? Do they count? Do they count?
And of course, there is the ridiculousness of anyone angry that they still haven't gotten the Thor trailer is a guaranteed ticket to Thor sold. So it's this like weird thing of like we're mad at you, and like what's the punishment? Like, you're still gonna go see Thor. Like, you're so
the punishment is they're mad online, big mad, all caps. I think
And
I
will say, oh, sorry, go for it.
I only see this during like the fan days or like event, like panel days, like when DC or Star Wars or somebody has a, Star Wars Day or anything like that, when they've got a big announcements and panels and stuff like that online,
Right.
And everyone's like, we don't want to see this. Where's Batman? Right. So that's the only time I kind of glimpse that. That's a very specific thing about that day itself. Obviously they're going to save Batman for last. So like, if you're tuning in at 10 a.m., you're not going to see Batman.
Right. We're not going to show you the thing that a lot of you are saying you'll stop watching if we show you. It's like,
yeah. But let's get into the trailer itself, teaser really, because it doesn't even get into the villain or the main plot of it, but it's for the setup.
And I was surprised, by the way. I figured at this point it would be out with Doctor Strange. So I was just kind of surprised 2 weeks before Doctor Strange we got it.
I hope they didn't listen to the idiots.
Right.
So we've got Sweet Child of Mine playing. We've got a setup where Thor still starts off with the Guardians. We see him do some cardio to lose the weight. He doesn't know where to do. He's sort of aimless, drifting in life. Doesn't know what his fate is now. He sort of hangs up Stormbreaker, and we see the Guardians leave at that point, and I don't know.
Kind of figure like you could kind of
because they got to do Guardians.
They were only going to be in the first 20 minutes of this movie, probably. Yeah.
Is Thor in their holiday special, or is that like taking place in the past? Is that like between?
No, I think it's
Volume
directly
1 and
taking
2
place between Thor, Love and Thunder, and Guardians 3. I think is
okay. Yeah, so they go off and they have a holiday special. Okay,
they go off and have a holiday special. Yes,
but we get glimpses of things. So we see Olympus, we see the back of Russell Crowe as Zeus, we see Korg and Thor, and a mystery player because there's a spot for a third person standing there, and Marvel has digitally removed them.
They love to saying
maybe Beta Ray Bill. It could be could be anyone. It could be Eric Goldman. It could be anyone, like I said.
Maybe I'm keeping some secrets.
And they're looking at a fallen dead god of Falgar the Behemoth, which is actually taken from an exact comic panel.
Very, very like one, well done recreation of a specific comic book panel. Except Korg wasn't there, so they added Korg into the.
And then we've got his magical goats from the comics pulling a boat. We see a suited Valkyrie and a suited Mick running Asgard on Earth. And then we see Thor having some sort of pirate adventure, which maybe is him trying to find his way. I don't know. But anyway, it all looks really fun. It all looks like, what we loved about Ragnarok. And then we've got Thor at the end, but Jane Foster Thor. With I guess it looks reassembled Mjolnir because it's all cracked, right?
Yep. It looks like someone put it back together again.
But she's on Earth, so there are cars behind her. So yeah.
Because I mean, in the comics, when she became Thor, the hammer was not destroyed, so they'll have to kind of account for that from Ragnarok. It's a really cool reveal. Look, this movie was announced with her returning and becoming the Mighty Thor Comic-Con 2019. But a lot of people, that wouldn't be on everyone's radar. Again, there's different levels of fans. The people who are screaming for the trailer, they all know that, but other people wouldn't know that. And it's just kind of like, whoa, like, who is that? And then like being, or like, some people could recognize her. Some people couldn't recognize her because she's wearing a helmet. She's buffer, but a cool reveal nonetheless.
Her arms are great. Okay.
Her arms are great. I think it's a fun teaser. The fact that they don't show Christian Bale, who's playing Gore, the main villain, is fine by me. Again, this movie opens in 2 months, but Marvel doesn't need to operate on anyone else's schedule because they're Marvel. Like, this movie kind of sells itself, and they have Doctor Strange and Miss Marvel in between. And don't worry, guys, they'll keep promoting this movie. They didn't forget to promote this movie,
But Eric, what if they forgot?
What if they forgot? What if they forget to release it, Matt? What if that's
they're like, whoops, like, and they're just like,
whoops.
People sit down and watch Thor, and like nobody has the file to play it. Okay. Let's get into what's the next story here? Very quickly, a couple of these are sort of quickies, which is that the 10th Fast and the Furious movie has a title. It is not Fast 10 Your Seatbelts, but it could be Fast 10 or Fast X. As you pointed out on Twitter, Jason did it first.
iPhone did it next. iPhone did iPhone X, and they skipped a 9th iPhone to do that for their 10th anniversary.
We just had a movie called X, so technically they did it too.
Yes, but Jason, I go back to Jason X because Jason X was a brilliant title, just because it's part 10. Do the Roman numeral X10. X sounds cool, and
they'd already started. They'd already dropped the Friday the 13th by that point. So Jason was the headlining name, and it was a crazy movie because it was in the future in outer space, not just in outer space. So
yes.
But yeah, what does the X behold? Does the X mean that Xander Cage is going to also come into this, and Vin Diesel will play 2 roles?
Because Jason X, sort of justified its title by him becoming a cyborg Jason, which was nicknamed Uber Jason, but you could just call Jason X. That was like what it is.
Well, Hobbs and Shaw dealt with sort of cyborgs.
It did have a cyborg Z. And then, of course, the Fast and Furious movies have never used Roman numerals for their. They've used Roman the character, but they've not used.
They
Roman
use his numerals,
right? For any of their titles, but that's okay because the Fast and Furious titles, of course, famously have no consistency and just completely change up their style movie to movie, and whether they include a number, and whether just Furious is used, or whether Fast is used, or if it's a pun. So Fast X, not what people were guessing, but I'm fine with it because yes, Jason did it first, but I just consider it an homage to Jason as all things are.
They could have even went with FX because they did F9.
Oh, they could. The Deadly Art of Illusion. It started production this week. Still
that
no
was
more
FX2.
That was true. Still no announcements of additional angels that Vin Diesel promised multiple angels, and he identified Brie Larson as an angel. But we don't know who the other angels he was teasing are.
Drax said that Thor looked like a pirate had a baby with an angel. So maybe it all comes together. What if they forget to release Fast X?
Oh no! Everyone forgot everything.
Yeah, Fast X. I'm in. Everyone's going to see it no matter what it's called.
Everyone's going to see it after they're angry about not getting the trailer as quickly as they should. Yes.
All right. The other bit of movie news is that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has not only dropped its part 1, even though it's still part 1 of 2.
Yeah.
They're just dropping it from the title. And it has now been bumped from October 7th this year to quite a ways off from there, June 2nd of 2023. Do we know why? Is it just they need more animation time?
It's got to be a production thing, because someone tweeted to me this can't be like more COVID delays has in a release date worry people won't show up. I'm like, no. After Spider-Man No Way Home, after another movie with Spider-Man in the title made as much as it did, it is not a concern that people won't show up for a movie called Spider-Man this October.
I'd be more nervous that people won't show up for Craven or Madam Web after Morbius than Across the Spider-Verse, because the first one was a huge hit and was also hugely acclaimed. So
yeah. So it's got to just be a production thing. They need more time. They want.
This animation style that they're doing, with all the different kinds. I understand. Give them all the time they want.
They've earned more time, so it's a bummer because I would have. There was a tweet. I don't know if you saw going around where someone was like,
I only see tweets there from you about people being angry about Thor.
Okay,
those are the only tweets I see.
No, there was a tweet that was like, when this year began, we thought we were going to get a new John Wick, Mission Impossible, and Spider-Verse movie, and now they've all been bumped to next year. It is a little bit of a bummer.
We still have plenty this year. We're fine.
We've got plenty. Although I still think it's weird that there's not a single what we'd call tentpole movie in August. An oddly bare August coming at you.
That's because it's my birthday. That's the only That's the only tentpole you need.
Only tentpole.
Matt Fowler's Raging Leo birthday. What?
Matt, Trish and I have been doing these little 15-minute yoga videos each day. We're doing a 21-day challenge, and they were filmed last summer. So we just did August 19th. And I said, it's Matt's birthday.
I would love to talk to you. I don't know if the listeners would care. I want to know what you're doing on those 15-minute. I'm a yoga nerd, so I want to know what you're doing. What are you doing?
Lucas is his name.
I don't care about who the guy is.
Yoga is his game.
Lucas is his name. Yogiing is his game. He's here to yoga and chew bubble gum, and he's all out of bubble gum.
That's right. That's what he says exactly. So
all right. Good for you. I'm very happy to hear that.
Thank you.
I just did yoga tonight, and I was very sweaty. Okay. And then now, this is a weird story. The big story here is that Netflix shares plummeted quite a bit.
A huge amount.
35.1% after its earnings report came in, and the company lost $54.3 billion overnight.
Jesus. Yeah.
And this came in when they didn't meet their subscriber predictions, and also in the wake of losing 700,000 subscribers because they suspended their service in Russia. But they also at the same time gained 500,000 subscribers. So overall, they still lost 200,000
yeah.
subscribers.
And that's the thing is like their predictions they were still, because they'd slowed down. They'd already started to slow down in gaining subscribers, especially in the US. But this was the first time they actually lost in like 10 years, like basically before they became the Netflix of today.
Yeah. And, it became an opportunity for people like myself and a few others to lightly drag Netflix a little bit online. Like I think with Netflix, there are good and bad things. Mm-hmm. I think there are things that I like and things that I don't like. And so it's not a perfect company. Is it revolutionary? Did it kill home video? Yes. Like,
and now it's trying to work on theaters.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, things we loved, right? Like it's killing the things we love because it just wants people to sit in the couch and binge over a weekend and not discuss it with anyone else. It doesn't want TV reporters to review things or have an online discussion. It doesn't want friends or family to talk about things on a weekly basis. It wants everyone to watch what they want to watch separately in their own home, binging, and that's it. I just think I think I will still have at some point. There's a part of me that I feel a small streak of satisfaction when something that was a business killer gets eaten and implodes in a certain regard. Does that make sense? Like now it actually has competition, right? Like it's right. As competition, it's not the only game in town, and in fact, it's the game in town for me, and I think a few other people. It's got especially after raising its prices, it is not the best streaming service out there as far as quality content. It is not in any regard. Does it have the most? Yes, it has quantity over quality. And again, are there great Netflix shows? Of course there are. But mm-hmm. We've talked about Netflix in piecemeal parts on this podcast over the past year. But like, you make 1,000 things, you're going to get 10 great shows. Yeah. It's much harder to make 15 shows and have 10 great shows. You know what I mean? Like, mm-hmm. So the quality control was barely present from the get-go. And I think the first indication of that was Arrested Development. I think that was the first time when we all noticed, because it was a saved show. So for a while, everything was like Netflix. We looked to Netflix to save these shows that we loved that were being canceled. It was the first time that they just turned it over to the creator, let them have free reign, and made things longer for no reason. And it was, it didn't benefit from it. The 3 seasons on Fox were far superior.
Yeah, maybe some notes are good sometimes. Like, look, it's not a simple thing because, like, clearly Netflix is still the number 1 streaming service. That's not going to just suddenly change. It certainly seems to have peaked. Again, it was already kind of heading this direction, how much it was slowing down in the US. It had clearly stopped being able to add as many people as it was adding. And I think because for a long time, what's going to keep happening for a while, but I think you're going to start to see it change more and more, is people have Netflix out of habit. People have Netflix because there is a million things on it, so you can have something on at all times.
And that's what they wanted. So,
that's what they wanted.
So while HBO and FX, they wanted to be like the best, most prestigious channels on television. Like, we have the best programming on television, so much so that for HBO, you're going to pay extra. Like so they need to like justify why you got to pay extra. FX doesn't have that, we still have to have cable, but like, we are quality on television, and Netflix wanted everyone to get rid of television.
Right.
Which is why Netflix has everything that the 200 plus channels on your cable or satellite subscription has. It has reality, it has anime, it has foreign shows, it has the only thing it doesn't have is sports.
Sports, yeah.
So, but it has every genre. It has, still has shows that you did watch on TV. It still has shows, some of it. That was the thing for the longest while. Its originals weren't even its top shows. It was just repurposed shows that it was streaming. But it wanted you, yeah, exactly. I'm going to sit down and just turn on Netflix and see what's there. Like that's what, which is what we used to do with television. Channel surfing, the name of our old podcast.
Yes.
Like see what's on the dial or see what's on the grid as far as modernizing TV. But so they wanted you to, that was it. You don't need anything except this because we have 1,000 things and you'll want to watch something. But they were never really, I know they wanted people to like things because they wanted them to come back for the next seasons and they wanted to grow subscribers that way. But for some reason that never quite had translated to them making enough quality shows. I just think when you're that big, you can't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Starbucks coffee can't be great because there's so many Starbucks.
There's two problems, which is one, yes, if you're making that much stuff, a lot of it's not going to be good. And the problem is that even though you could still, like you mentioned, you can still find a lot of good shows on Netflix. It just, when the percentage is that low, it hurts your overall, like how you look. And the other problem is of course that they became so quick to cancel. And so all these moves
so that's a recent thing. Yeah.
That's a recent thing. And there a bit of a floodgates opening situation happened this week because now Netflix is sort of more vulnerable than it's ever been. So there was a couple other things that happened in the wake of this. One was a big article about how their animation division, which they'd gone really big on, has now had big layoffs. And they've kind of pulled back on a lot of things they were doing. But also there was just a lot of people sharing stories, a lot of writers and showrunners sharing their frustrations more openly about working with Netflix and things that we kind of knew, but filling in more blanks and about how quick they are to cancel and how a lot of that has to do with contracts and the thing of once you go into season 3 and 4 and you're supposed to you would be giving good big raises to the showrunner and the actors, and they just don't want to deal with that, and they don't think they had to deal with that, and so they would just rather just end the show. But the problem is that you eventually, now that there's competition, now that there is Disney Plus and HBO Max and Apple and other outlets now
that have great things that we should add that to that they have.
No, they have great things, and the problem with Netflix now is they have a brand problem where people they're starting to get the reputation Fox, the network, used to have.
The trust the trust is gone, right? And then they have a double-edged sword scenario in the fact where it's we want people to watch our shows immediately within the first 30 days, but viewers won't watch something in its first season because they're not sure it'll get a second season, so they'll wait to see if it'll get a second season. Obviously TV works like this too. It's not too far off from how actual TV works. And Eric and I have been covering TV long enough where we have beloved shows that are constantly on the bubble, right? Where season by season, we never know if it's the final season. So a lot of our beloved shows got season finales that were written to be series finales, but then they came back, and we've dealt with this over and over. It's just that Netflix has this really strict, where TV anticipates a drop in viewership over time for serialized shows,
right?
Netflix doesn't tolerate that and will cancel it. So you will have a show that it's in its 5th or 6th season, and the network will say, yeah, it's lost some of its audience. That's how these shows go. Right. It doesn't mean we're going to cancel.
And it's the money, the ads we're selling off it. It's still profitable. Maybe not as profitable, but it's still profitable.
Yeah. So as soon as a show doesn't grow, Netflix cancels it. Has Netflix given so many more artists and creators and people who work in the industry jobs? It's immeasurable how much it's had an impact on the industry
because they needed so much content. So they were just
so much content that was made on Netflix. Mostly they're making kind of garbage, but it employed so many people. Do they have a weird way? Is the apprenticeship role for budding writers into producers and directors? The writers don't get to visit film sets or TV show sets. Like the writers' rooms are and writing
right. Because you have to finish writing your entire season before you start filming, and there's no on-set writer to supervise, which is the way network TV always has worked.
Yeah, so anyway.
But that's just not how they even. So there are a million things like that. It's just
they got clowned on a bit this week. Nothing that hurts worse than the amount of money they lost. So I'm sure they can take the hit. But when we're talking constantly about HBO Max and their shows or Apple TV, which as a streamer is still a bit of a an outlier in the fact that it only has original programming.
Yeah. Well, Apple, if anyone has become the HBO, not HBO Max, but the HBO or FX of streaming, it feels like it's Apple.
Yeah.
Because HBO Max has a lot of great shows, and they also have a really great catalog of movies. But HBO Max is trying to be broader than HBO ever was. They're also doing some silly. It's not it's not like Netflix. They're not like floodgates. They're just doing more. But Apple has just originals, not a lot of originals, but their quality has been very high. So they feel like the most curated of the original programming at the moment,
Once Stranger Things wraps up, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they got Squid Game, but still. So that's what happened to Netflix. And
again, it's not like they're gone. They're not done.
No. As Eric said, they're still number
more
one.
Vulnerable than they ever have.
They're still number one. And they still have huge international appeal. That's why they make so many international programming. All right. We don't have any messages this week, which is fine.
People, come on.
I mean, email us. It's all right. People are busy.
We want to hear.
But you can email us at weenjoypodcast@gmail.com. Or if you're a Patreon subscriber at patreon.com/weenjoypodcast. For a couple bucks a month, you can not only get a ad-free version of this podcast, but you can also message us on there and we'll read them and maybe read them on air. Okay. And we are on Twitter at the Matt Fowler and the Eric Goldman. And you can find this podcast on all the things. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts, with formerly iTunes. Give us a 5-star Frog Splash rating. Our wrestling fans will understand what that means. And write something lovely and nice.
That doesn't mean a bad rating. It means a very positive rating.
They're like, well, I'm supposed to write about frogs? What if Netflix forgets to release Stranger Things?
Oh my God, we forgot. They only remember to release part 2 because they're splitting this season and they forget about part 1. And then they're like, here's part 2. We're never going to release part 1.
So
figure it out.
This season, so they're splitting into 2, but it's still not the final season, right?
Right.
Okay.
Oh, and we don't have to do a full thing on this, but it did come out in a Wall Street Journal article this week that the new season of Stranger Things cost $30 million an episode, which is insane. Anyway.
It's insane, but also not surprising because one of the first things that was reported about Netflix, one of the old thing, like if we jump back like 8 years, Netflix always renews their shows, right? It's hard to believe. That was
the cliche. Yes.
It's hard to believe that was ever a thing.
Right.
They don't cancel anything. That was, people said that
without giving it a proper ending. Yeah.
Yeah. And they overspend. They spend way more. And obviously a lot of that has to do with overcompensating people because of residuals, lack of back end and residuals and stuff like that. But still, even with that, they were spending, they were just lighting money on fire for a long, long time. So it doesn't surprise me at all that it costs that much. Because that's Paul Reiser money, buddy. That's
and keeping it. I mean,
one half of My Two Dads makes bank.
Yes, it was already going to be expensive anyway. But then, like everything, especially a big expensive project, COVID added to its budget. It had just started filming the new season when COVID hit. And so suddenly millions more were spent to add COVID protocols and the schedules, et cetera, et cetera.
So before we get into our good things to enjoy, I wanted to quickly bring up the fact that were you aware that for about 7 seasons in the 80s, TBS had a 3 sitcom family programming block that was created by Procter and Gamble.
I'm only aware of it because you tweeted about it the other day with me and Ali McKay. But prior to that, I had no.
There are 3 sitcoms in the 80s. Now, granted, I got cable late when I was a kid, so I could have TBS. I didn't watch till later, but Down to Earth, Safe at Home, and Rocky Road, called Rocky Road because their dead parents leave their kids an ice cream shop in Pismo Beach. But yeah, these were sort of like what Growing Pains became after Kirk Cameron became a Born Again. Like these were like wholesome. I don't think they were overtly religious, like just the 10 of us, but like they were wholesome, safe sitcoms that, man, they just they ran for like at least like they would run from like 84 to 87 thereabouts. I think one ran to 89, but they so many episodes. And they all look terrible. They look fake. So when I saw clips of them, I was like, this is a parody, right? I mean, I don't mean like Too Many Cooks style parody, but like
right.
It just looks like somebody went and made a fake 80s sitcom. But anyway, idea for future
oh no
main event is watching an episode of each somehow. I don't even know how you watch it. I think Down to Earth is like a house mom, a dead house mom from the 20s is reincarnated in the 80s or something. I don't know, something. All right. All right. What's the next thing? Good thing to enjoy?
Yeah.
All right. Eric, what is your good thing to enjoy this week?
My good thing to enjoy this week is a theatrical release, but we're recording on a Friday night. So technically some people could have seen it by Thursday night, and this will probably post Saturday. So they could have seen it Friday. But The Northman, I am doing a new release again this week of The Northman movie. I really dug. Robert Eggers, the director of this is his third movie. The Witch in a Lighthouse. All his movies have been the one word after. Let's see if he continues that. I really thought those were great. And the interesting thing about this is a huge leveling up in terms of just budget. It does make me worry about if this movie can actually be a success. Just
like I don't understand why they didn't make this movie like Tragedy of Macbeth, like like with spare like effects and details and stuff. Because what was it, 90 million or something?
This movie was gonna be 65 million, and then with COVID again, this was like another, because it was a huge movie, like for Robert Eggers especially. 65 million was going to be a big movie for him, and then it had to film during COVID, and they say it might have been as much as 90.
That's just bad sense. This is a niche movie. I mean,
it reminds me a lot, because I almost tweeted this. I probably will still tweet it, that I think we have our new Scott Pilgrim here, as far as like a movie I really dig, that I'm also like, you spent too much on that. But welcome to a movie people will dig for.
Also, at the end, The Northman should have been with knives. Chow.
Oh, yes. Also, The Northman should have ended with him.
The original ending of The Northman, yes. He goes off with knives. Chow. Honestly, Scott Pilgrim should have wound up with no one. That should have been the third ending. But yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, look, you've probably seen the trailers for this. The thing that's interesting about this movie as well, for Robert Eggers, is that A, way bigger budget than his two very low budget first two movies, and B, a much more straightforward plot line. This is his version of a
so it's not a psychological thriller, is what you're saying.
Well, no, it's funny. His own self-deprecating joke, he made it to me when I interviewed him. He made it to a couple other people. Is like, it's not a boring movie about pilgrims. I'm like, hey, The Witch is not boring, but it's not for everyone. Or a movie with no plot about two guys at a lighthouse. Those are his words. Is that this one is based on a Scandinavian legend of Amleth. That was actually the inspiration for Hamlet, but it's a pretty straightforward revenge story. A kid in Viking times, his uncle betrays his family, kills his dad, carts off his mom, and he escapes and grows up to be big and buff, and is like, I'm going to get revenge, and inserts himself into the life of this guy posing as a slave while plotting his revenge. So way more straightforward, and also way more. It is accessible. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be his biggest hit, even though I don't think I don't know if it's going to justify 90 million.
I guess by default.
Yeah.
And Alexander Skarsgård, of which there are many Skarsgårds.
There are many Skarsgårds, but
in fact, one is very famous for playing a Viking on many seasons of Viking, because his brother played Floki on Vikings.
And the patriarch has done movies about aliens who are mistaken for Norse gods with Thor, and Alexander, of course.
And he sits in a puddle of goo and says, "Dune."
Yes, and Alexander Skarsgård previously played a character named Eric Northman on True Blood,
which is why, like when I say the title of this movie, I'm like the Northman,
the Northman, Spider-Man.
Yeah, the Spider-Man. It's like when I watch AEW Rampage.
Right. No, I really dig this movie. I really dig the vibe of it. It's almost an interesting experiment as far as like Robert Eggers doing a much more straightforward narrative, but still adding a lot of like trippiness. You still get the idea that you were dealing with like an auteur, a guy with art house vibes. So there's like really adrenalized, like cool kick-ass like fighting sequences. But there's also this sort of like trippiness to it. There's sort of these some of the budget you can see is also spent on some like these sort of scenes of like almost visualizing some things from like Norse mythology and things like that they envision about their afterlife. And it's like really cool looking. It feels cool. It's just awesome to look at. Skarsgård's great in sort of this super physical presence. I always love Anya Taylor-Joy, who's reuniting with Eggers after The Witch. It's Hollywood casting, but also it's Viking casting that I figured that she's 25 and he's 45 and they play love interests. Viking times.
Yeah,
Hollywood.
That's true. Well, I see also he got into Tarzan shape.
He's
the Northman, Tarzan. Yeah, so which he reportedly bigger. He talked about how miserable he was in that shape for Tarzan. So I was surprised to see him get back into that type of fighting form. But yeah, he's chiseled out of stone. This one did play a character named Eric Northman. And is origin story? It is not, because we know there's origin story.
But no, it's and then some of the other more of the Eggers players. Willem Dafoe, star of The Lighthouse, has a small role. That's kind of like a seer. In his village. Ethan Hawke, it's not a spoiler to say he dies early because his father dies, plays his dad, and a crucial setup role. And then Nicole Kidman has his mom, giving a very fierce performance herself. I really dug it. And I didn't know the actor who plays the bad guy, the traitorous uncle is named Claes Bang, a Danish actor. I'd never seen him before. I'm looking at stuff he did. He was Dracula in a BBC Netflix series in 2020. Anyway, I thought he had a cool presence. And so
that was the BBC Network series was the guy who made Sherlock.
Okay.
Right? What was his name? What's Sherlock guy name?
Sherlock guy's name is a thing.
Steve Moffat.
Mark
Gatiss, who's also an actor, and Stephen Moffat. That's their Dracula series that was 3 episodes. I watched that. Okay, so that's the villain. I know him. Yeah.
So anyway,
hey, he was Dracula.
He was Dracula, and I really think this movie just very visceral. One thing I said when I was interviewing them, I interviewed Skarsgård and Eggers, and I said like what I really liked about there's a huge raid scene early in the movie, like a Viking raid scene, and it's technically amazing. Like it's like got some long oneers, and so on one hand, like you're like, wow, a lot of work went into pulling this off, like prep and everything, but also they really want to sell you on this is exhausting, that like you'd be pretty tired after Viking all day. They sell that as well while making him a badass. So the Northman, I really like it. I don't know if it'll be profitable, but you should see it. So there you go.
We only see movies that are profitable.
No.
All right. My good thing to enjoy. I don't know if I'll see The Northman this week, but I'll catch it next week, probably. My good thing to enjoy this week is a HBO Max series, speaking of other streamers, which is Our Flag Means Death, which you can watch the complete first season on HBO Max. It's 10 episodes, I believe. And I watched it when it was all done. Apparently it had like a weird...
it aired over like 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, like it released 3 episodes and then 3 episodes and then 2 episodes and then 2 episodes. So over a month, it released 10. And it is created by David Jenkins, who I never watched TBS's People of Earth. I only know TBS's Rocky Road and Safe at Home. And what was the third sitcom, Eric? I can't even remember.
Wait,
TBS. Just thinking of the old 80s TBS shows.
Why are you asking me like I would know?
Down to Earth. because he did a 2-season show called People of Earth that I didn't see. Anyway, he created this show, and it stars Rhys Darby, who you know from many things. If you watch the recent Jumanji films, or if you watched 2 seasons of Flight of the Conchords on HBO back in the day, he was Murray the manager. He is a New Zealand comedian, actor, and it also stars, speaking of Thor, Taika Waititi as Blackbeard. Taika is also an executive producer on the series. And it is a silly pirate show. It is a comedic series, but it's also very, very sweet and loving. And I don't think I'll give too much away by saying that it is a love story between Rhys Darby's Stede Bonnet. So it's actually based on historic characters. Stede Bonnet was known as the gentleman pirate, who was sort of a nobleman who decided that they didn't want to live the sort of a soft, safe life anymore and wanted to sail the high seas as a pirate. And Blackbeard, obviously a very notorious, famous pirate. And it is a love story between them. The show is a little slow going in the first 2 episodes, but I stick with it because once Blackbeard shows up and it becomes about the 2 of them, it is really fun and delightful. And so if you like Ted Lasso, if you like, not saying that these shows I'm mentioning don't have like serious or dark episodes, but like if you like Ted Lasso, if you like Parks and Rec, if you like all these different things, I recommend Our Flag Means Death. I wasn't like rolling on the floor laughing my ass off, but I highly enjoyed myself. I just had a big grin on my face most of the time, right? Like, I feel like this was such an enjoyable show. I hope it gets a second season. It has not been renewed as of yet. I don't know if that has to do with Taika. Right. Because he is a main character on the show. So like with his schedule, making movies, starring in movies and so forth.
Making Marvels and Star Warses and
all that sort of thing. Because also the only other person on the show, I don't know, the actor, Con O'Neill, is who's actually a real person from history, is Izzy Hands, who was Blackbeard's sort of right-hand man. So that character is there. But the cast also has it's got Rory Kinnear, who we'll see a lot of him when Men comes out, because there's lots of Rory Kinnears in there.
He's playing all the men.
Nat Faxon is in it. Kristen Nairn, who was Hodor on Game of Thrones, and Ewan Bremner from Trainspotting is on it. And then it's got a lot of guest recurring characters played by like Leslie Jones, Fred Armisen, Nick Kroll, Kirsten Johnson, Will Arnett. Will Arnett plays Calico Jack. Actually, sorry, there actually is a 4th real pirate, and we have seen Calico Jack and Blackbeard on Black Sails, played by real people,
a show that I previously recommended.
And then also Calico Jack, for those who don't know, was the basis for Jack Sparrow. Right. And also Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric. Okay, so I recommend Our Flag Means Death, 10 episodes, quick binge if that's what you want to do. It was released in a somewhat binge form, a gentleman's binge, if you will, for the Gentleman Pirate, the way it was released on HBO Max. Hopefully it wasn't released like that to sort of burn it off, and it will get a second season.
Well, no, I mean, I haven't seen the show yet. I've seen nothing but positive reaction to it. And I looked in my email to see that the Wrap on April 13th sent out how Our Flag Means Death holds off Moon Knight for the most in-demand new series. So this was early in the month, but clearly was, got good, like again, we don't have exact numbers for any of these streamers. They're always like going by weird analytics for all this stuff. But between the attention and apparently the viewership, I would think HBO Max wants more. And I think it probably will come down to, I think they'll get more. It might just take a while because of one of their stars being a
that's what I think is what sort of, because they got to like nail them down to
so maybe we got to wait a couple years for more, but I have a feeling they'll get more eventually.
So I didn't get into the plot. I'll just do it quickly. Basically, Rhys Darby is Stede Bonnet, who leaves his wife and children to go become a pirate. And he abhors violence. He's trying to be a pacifist. He gives his crew a salary, like it's not just what they steal. Like he gives them like health insurance and a salary, and is trying to make a name for himself. And it's very funny. Anyway, that's the plot. If you couldn't figure it out from what I was talking about, anyway. But
it takes place. It's in the New York Stock Exchange. And the year is 2052. Go.
Yeah, it's in the future. It's actually in the Waterworld future where,
It's a continuation.
So everyone needs a boat.
Universe.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Let's get into our main event. First, let's talk about what we're going to do next week in our main event, wrapping up the Jennifer Lopez block with a movie that I have not seen. I still believe you haven't seen it either.
No, I saw it in the theater.
Oh, damn. All right. Well, I haven't seen it. Well, we're going to watch Hustlers, which I hear good things about. And you can watch it with us on Hulu. So sort of easy to watch. None of these weird... it's not on Hoopla. It's actually on Hulu. It's not on Tubi. It's on Hulu. Hulu was down a couple days ago.
I saw that. I mean, I saw stories about it. I wasn't trying to watch Hulu at the moment, but yeah, I read that they were down.
I just check Hulu to see if it's down every day. That's what Eric does. I feel bad that you don't like this movie. Not because I want you to like this movie. It's because we did this we could have watched Made in Manhattan. We could have watched something else.
It's okay. Look, I hadn't seen this movie in 22 years because I saw it once in the theater, remembered not liking it, but not hating it. So I was curious. It was like, it wasn't like I was like, oh, I can't watch The Cell again. I literally didn't even remember almost anything about it. And you never know. You can revisit a movie and be like, oh, you know what? There are things I liked about that. This time I didn't hate it this time either, but I also was like,
The Cell is a lot. What The Cell is trying to sort of give us is quite a bit.
A lot of nonsense.
So it's got the whole virtual reality sort of dreamscape thing. The visuals is what this movie is mostly known for. It's directed by Tarsem Singh, who was a music video director, famous at the time for directing REM's Losing My Religion video, of which in the movie there is a scene directly from that video. He stages a scene in the mind of the killer that looks like it's from the Losing My Religion video. And so that kind of visuals is what the virtual reality mind games is sort of based on. And that's what this is known for. He also did another movie that utilized visuals like this as well, called The Fall. His movies that came after that were more traditional, but between The Cell and The Fall, you get a lot of Tarsem visuals.
I was going to say, by the way, that there was a lot of people joking about the fact that he was just credited as Tarsem at the time. Then I was surprised to see that the movie itself is Tarsem Singh, but I rewatched the trailers and they just said Tarsem.
Yep. He was at the time. It was just Tarsem, but also Mark Prodosevich, I think that's how you say his name, who wrote I Am Legend, which we just recently spoke about on this podcast, wrote this movie. And so within this trippy virtual reality dreamscape that the movie is that's sort of the core of the movie, is also this really overwrought, really dark serial killer story. In the 90s, serial killers ruled the roost. Couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting a serial killer movie of some sort, and they all had a gimmick. And this was probably one of the most disturbing and also excessive gimmicks for a serial killer of all time. I never looked up the fact of looked up whether or not Vincent D'Onofrio spoke about this movie and what he was going for. But he plays the killer here, and Vince Vaughn is basically the co-lead here too. It's not like a supporting character. There's a large stretches of the movie, especially at the beginning, where Jennifer Lopez kind of vanishes, because I think the movie was a bit thin, and they literally had to show you up front the cops and FBI agents chasing this guy, and then actually catching him and showing you how they catch him. So, all right, let's get into The Cell, which we meet J-Lo in the desert, all dressed in white, and she is in the mind of a little boy who's in a coma. And this sort of gives us a taste of what she does and what this movie is going to be, and what her main goal is. Her main goal is to help this kid. That's why this entire technology was developed.
It's interesting, because when you have, look, there have been a million directors, acclaimed music video directors who became film directors. And in the 90s, that was kind of like the really heyday of that happening. Well, also because there was more music videos happening. And obviously David Fincher being like sort of the gold standard of like, hey, look, this guy directed a bunch of music videos that look really great music videos, and what a great film director he is. There's always the like danger of, is this person just like visually cool in a way that works for a music video, but how are they as like a full storyteller? And it's funny because I just saw Ambulance last week, which is, the new Michael Bay movie. And I didn't think it was very good, but I certainly, I kind of felt it was overhyped because like there'd been a lot of people saying, this is a really fun one. It's okay. But look, Michael Bay has some talent. Like, I don't watch his movies and be like he doesn't know what he's doing. He knows how to shoot like things sleek and cool. And like there's an aesthetic of his that's very distinct. It's just he's like the human level, Matt. He's not really good on the human.
Yeah, I mean, like in the 90s was also when we did see, you talk about Fincher, but also like Alex Proyas or other people. That we saw like music video directors, which was a new medium that started in the 80s and was super popular. This was where crops of film directors were discovered. We saw if it wasn't commercials, it was music videos, because I'm trying to think who directed. Was it Con Air? Simon West?
And Tarsem Singh has directed more commercials than music videos.
Yeah, he's also a commercial director.
But I guess my point being that it's like I watched this movie and you have the opening in the desert and it's very clear. I mean, the reason this movie made for cool looking trailers is like visually there's a lot happening here,
and the costuming too.
The costuming, and you clearly have a person who thinks visually. It's just such a fine line, like, because to me, I was kind of quickly kind of groaning, like when like the horse turns into like a large toy horse and stuff. And I'm like, it's not like you can't make this work for me, but I guess it was just his approach. It's that detachment that like, I felt like this is a person thinking very visually, but he's not immersing me in a certain way that like, I think Fincher's a really good parallel because this movie is about a serial killer and has like ghastly things happening to people being victimized. And Fincher's done a million serial killer stories, but Seven being kind of the one that put him on the map really after Alien 3 was not well received. Seven is about a lot of dark, nasty stuff, but I don't feel like, I don't know, it just works for me. Like it clicks in with me. This one sometimes felt more like actually exploitive to me. And I think it's just a like sensibility thing, it's just like,
it could be also. I mean, I hear what you're saying. You don't like kids in comas. I get it. But like, you're like, just pull the plug. I don't understand. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying because there's a cold detachment that doesn't help sell the darkness because then like you said, the darkness then does feel exploitative and because if there's no emotion to sort of ground it underneath and give reasoning for its existence, then it's just like being cruel for the sake of being cruel. But the costuming here, the visuals of specifically what J-Lo and D'Onofrio look like inside the mind. We've got she gets woken up. She's wearing
she's wearing a very Gary Oldman's armor from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
I was gonna say it's also very Cronenberg-y because it looks like someone's circulatory system on the outside.
I was gonna say it's like in no way does it look believable as like any sort of scientific tracking.
No,
because it's so intricate, It's so.
But here to ground the science is Dylan Baker, character actor extraordinaire. Mm-hmm. Marianne Jean-Baptiste is there too.
A couple years after an Oscar nomination for her for Secrets and Lies.
And then we've got my favorite part of Secrets and Lies, Eric, is when he goes, secrets and lies, lies and secrets. We all have secrets. Why can't we share them? That took it out of me.
It always does.
So we find out that basically this technology was developed by a billionaire, and his son is the one in the coma, and they've been working on developing this technology for 7 years, and she's only been trying this. I guess it came online and started working 18 months prior.
Yeah. This, by the way,
one else has used this. It's just for his kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, strange, actually, overtly distracting casting here of how much older the actor is than the husband is than the wife. I was like, I thought they were supposed to be two like maybe it was like a father and daughter, but there's like, no, they're husband and wife. They just cast.
Would you say there's a Northman gap in between.
Yeah, except that sorry, no offense to this actor, but you're no Alexander Skarsgård.
I know, but he's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire. He does have that going. She was vaguely familiar to me. The actress playing
Who was she? Yeah,
she was the praying mantis teacher on Buffy season 1 and other kind of like, that's probably the thing. I mean, I would have watched that episode several times. I watched all of Buffy several times. So that probably is what I was mostly thinking of, along with a couple other like random TV roles.
And so we meet Jennifer Lopez's character, Catherine Dean. And basically, like, what you need to know about Catherine Dean is that she really wants to help this boy. She was a child psychologist, and she has trouble sleeping at night. So she tries to smoke pot, and she rolls fat joints and tries to fall asleep watching weird cartoons. And that's kind of all we know. It's interesting that, like, okay, I think Jennifer Lopez and Vince Vaughn were both like 30 when they made this movie. But they both are so accomplished as far, like, even Vince Vaughn more. He was a prosecutor, Eric.
Right.
This guy has already changed his career into two highly these fields that he's chosen. He had to go to law school. Anyway, it's funny that when someone as young as Vince Vaughn is in this movie is like, in my past, I was a prosecutor. Now I'm an FBI agent. Like that's such an easy transition to make. And she is basically, I guess the backstory we learn is that her brother was also in a coma when she was in college, and now she sings "Girlfriend in a Coma" by the Smiths all the time. Mm-hmm. So let's see. Then we basically, that's all we know about this Campbell Center. Like, she's not making any progress with this kid.
No other patients.
The husband, the billionaire father is upset. The wife is more sympathetic. But this, before we get into the serial killer story of this, she mentions reversing the feed, which is bringing the kid into her mind.
Right.
Because she's been going into the kid's mind.
His dreamscape, do the opposite.
Right. So that's the trick play that the team will bring out in the third act that beats Camp Tomahawk across the lake.
Sure.
So then we get right into the serial killer. We've got Carl Rudolph Starger. I have notes about that name, by the way.
Well, and the name and just, this is like a hat on a hat on a hat as far as like you said, this was of the era, we're post Silence of the Lambs and Seven, and these like serial killers, you kind of have to keep upping the ante of what they're doing. So the one thing that movies tend to shy away from, and I get it, is the fact that all serial killers are doing it for sexual reasons. They're doing it to fucking jizz. They're doing it they're doing it because they're either going to have sex with someone and kill them or have sex after they kill them. Like, that's why serial killers do what they do. And a lot of movies are just like The Strangler. He goes around strangling people. And then what? I don't know. He leaves. That's like, they kind of sanitize it for the sake of broad audiences because they want their movie to be a hit, and it's gross. Otherwise, it's just a wretched, vile thing. But that's not serial killers. Even Hannibal is like, well, I eat people, but there's no talk about Hannibal jacking off afterwards, Right.
But this movie is like, nope. Like, this guy is going to drown women in these remote Bakersfield.
It's not just that they're going to include the sexual component. They're going to, again, add a lot of other layers to this.
Yeah. So it's not like, that's the other thing. It's like, there's parts of where, like, when he sees things he doesn't want to see, like, he literally like covers his eyes and grabs his dick and like has to like avert him, I don't know if he's protecting his penis or he's afraid he's going to explode in his pants. I don't know what's happening, but D'Onofrio is making some choices here. So this is the process, and it's horrific. He kidnaps women. He puts them in a room by themselves that he's filming, and then slowly drowns them over like the course of almost 2 days by raising bursts of water into the room while filming them lose their minds out of fear because of what's happening. And like, he gets off on that too he plays back the videos and he records everything. And it's honestly an absolute nightmare scenario for these characters, and the actress also, who had to be the main sort of victim in this movie. you study enough stuff about serial killers. It's not like this type of thing, obviously not this elaborate, but like this type of thing does happen, and it's the worst thing in the world. But then he also bleaches them, turns them into dolls, like sex dolls, and he has suspension hook holes.
Don't forget, I was going to say it. Don't forget.
Oh, no. Why? Gonna leave out the hooks?
Jesus Christ.
Send hooks. And then he suspends himself.
Brainstorming for this.
I will say that before John Kramer was inventing elaborate machines, as being an engineer, this guy created a hook suspension system that he could operate by the push of a button that like raises him up. Because I think it's another thing. I don't know. Anyway, he jacks off all over them.
It's so nasty. Again, it's not. And I'm like, again, because there are a lot of movies I like and love that have nasty, gross, horrific things. It's not like I'm saying like, you can't, like, I'm not like, this is too far. It's just like, there's a distancing here where I'm just like, I don't know if you're like making me want, the movie itself around it is not like good enough to grab me. I will say a couple things at the beginning that stuck out to me. D'Onofrio, great actor, certainly goes for, quirky performances. It is funny to me that this is 3 years after, for some reason it stuck out to me, this is 3 years after Men in Black, because Men in Black, he gave a very grotesque comedic performance. He's so good in Men in Black. Has this like
the cockroach man,
unusually kind of gross for like a mainstream summer Spielberg produced villain. And this is almost like, you thought that was gross. When do you see this guy?
Well, we don't know. Honestly, we don't know if Wilson Fisk has hook holes in his back.
It's very true. Maybe we'll find that out if they do this new Daredevil season that just keeps being rumored. Also, by the way, I realizing that who the actress was playing, you always have to have the first victim if you're going to show someone else who may be able to escape. So the first victim, the one that's most of the time playing a corpse, we see a little bit of her like moving around in the water, but Catherine Sutherland, who was the second Pink Power Ranger, Kat, not even from Power Rangers, who replaced Amy Jo Johnson after she left. I remember helping her at Warehouse once, Matt, and being like, who's this beautiful Australian girl? She's kind of familiar. And she gave me her credit
and you
card.
were like, oh, she was naked in the cell.
And I forgot that she was naked in the cell. I just remember.
Well, it's weird because as a role, when do we see her like actually say lines? Is on the videos that he made where she's just screaming, right, and saying, right, pleading for her life. So, but then we meet the crime time. We meet the Killer Busters. We've got Vince Vaughn as Peter. Peter Novak. And then we also have Jake Weber. So everyone else is recognizable. We've got Jake Weber. We've got Dean Norris.
Jake Weber is his like main partner. This would be about 3 or 4 years before Dawn of the Dead, which is the movie that I would really know him from. I love the Zack Snyder, James Gunn, Dawn of the Dead. Jake Weber is most famous as Patricia Arquette's husband on Medium, a show I've never watched, but that my mom loves so much she's watched twice through, and that my wife watched all of last year. The women in my life are medium crazy, and
my god,
they both think Jake Weber is great and he's like such a lovable husband is the word on the street about him in that show.
They should watch The Cell.
They should watch The Cell.
And then what's the dude's name from Major League? James Gammon is also in this.
And that's what he's from. Yes.
Yeah, it's Major League.
Yeah.
And Pruitt Taylor Vince pops up briefly during this investigation period. But then this is when the movie sort of takes a time out for like 15, 20 minutes.
With no J-Lo, yeah.
With no J-Lo in it because they're tracking the killer. Now, here's the thing. The killer's awful. We've seen what he does. We've seen his favorite things to do in the world.
Not a good man. Yes.
We've seen his MO. It's ghastly. And we want to see him caught. So, we're in on this. It's a really quick procedural that we're sort of driven into about Vince Vaughn's character is the one who stands aside and makes like decisions based on his intuition. So he seems a little like a cut above the rest. He's a little more in tune with the investigation process, or as far as like what the plot needs. He's that kind of profiler. And he thinks this guy wants to get caught. The kills are getting more frequently. He's escalating everything. He thinks he wants to get caught because he's getting sloppy. He does get sloppy. A dog hair leads them to his dog. By the way, his accomplice dog.
Big part of the movie, accomplice dog.
Accomplice dog is he's a killer, but J-Lo adopts him at the end, so it's fine. Doesn't she adopt him?
Yeah, she does. Wait, is he a killer, the dog specifically?
No. He's not, I'm just saying, like he gets his dog to act wounded to attract women in the parking garage.
Yeah. He's definitely he's part of the bit. He's part of the cell. Yeah.
I'm saying he's aiding and abetting.
Yeah. He's just a very good boy.
So here's the final hat on top of all the hats, which is that they catch him. And right when they catch him, right before they catch him, he starts having seizures and he goes into like this comatose state because he has a rare schizophrenic condition called Whelan's infraction, which I did not Google, but this movie leans so heavily on it. I really hope it's real and they didn't make it up, but it's sort of schizophrenia brought on
McGregor syndrome
by viral. I wish it was McGregor syndrome. And it's just had shaking hands. And
stage 4,
and then Pruitt Taylor Vince shows up as Victor Freeze, the doctor they go to. And so it's they didn't find his final victim. He's in a comatose place, and Pruitt Taylor Vince knows of one place, the Campbell Center, they could bring him to. And what's the first thing that they do to these poor researchers and therapists at the Campbell Center? They show them the video of the girl screaming and drowning in a meeting room. I understand that it's to impress the urgency, but that's really fucked up. So
it is fucked up. This is going to be like the worst thing you're ever going to see. Anyway.
Yeah. By the way, what are you putting on? Oh, something.
The actress, by the way, Tara Subkoff, who plays the girl who's like, the whole movie is like trying to rescue her in time. She was very familiar to me. And looked her up, and the two things I would have seen her in two movies I would have watched her in multiple times are she's a small role in Freeway, the Reese Witherspoon movie Freeway. We should do that movie one day. And she is in one scene of American Pie, but she's very likable in that scene. She's the girl that Oz says "suck me beautiful" to when he's like awkwardly doesn't know how to try to hook up with the girl and she kind of like kindly schools him on what are you even doing, dude, in that one scene in the car at the beginning of American Pie. And
Tara Subkoff, who plays Julia in this movie, comes with a baby Peter Sarsgaard as her.
Where was Sarsgaard? I didn't.
When they're interviewing her mom, and he was her like fiance or husband.
Oh, okay.
And so he's sitting there with the mom when they're talking to her and stuff like that. So yeah, he's there, and not Skarsgård, which we talked about earlier. This is the Sarsgaard, which is
the yin to the yang. It's like they must battle.
It's like the Skarsgård variant. It's like, oh, you mean Sarsgaard? That's the multiverse. And I applaud this movie for something. I understand that I am probably alone in liking this movie, but I always appreciated this movie being about trauma, what trauma can create, how trauma can create monsters, and also J-Lo's decision at the end of the movie, because of the trauma, to go and try to ease the little boy, to try to make things as right as she can in his mind. That's something that you don't like. She killed the fucking evil guy, right? Like, why go back? So this movie stands out to me because of her decision at the end to sort of save the innocence that's been long buried inside him, that died long ago, that she sort of, to protect him from the monster in his mind, and kills them both in the process, obviously. But I don't know. I always thought that was an interesting way to go with this.
Yeah, I like that idea too. It's funny. I was seeing how when the movie came out, Tarsum's movies generally get about 50% of Rotten Tomatoes, starting with this one. Although the one he did with Ryan Reynolds only got like a 19%. But this one, a lot of the, and some of the criticism was like, they want us to have sympathy for this horrific killer. I don't mind that in theory. Again, I don't think this movie is successful because I don't emotionally connect to it, but I like the idea of that.
I like the idea of that. I'm not saying that because Vince Vaughn in the middle of the movie, I think he has a line where I think tells you the only thing we come to know about his character, aside from the fact that he had a former career as a prosecutor, is the fact that he says something like, I think that you can suffer worse than what Starger suffered, 100 times worse than anything Starger suffered, and still grow up and not hurt another human being. I feel like he was talking about himself. So I feel like he came from a place of abuse in his life, led him into law, into prosecution, and ultimately the FBI, and so on. So I think that was the only sort of inkling we get about him as an actual person.
Maybe there was a draft of the script or even scenes shot where he
possibly
on that.
I don't think that's the mantra of the film, though. I think that's his opinion, and that's what drives him. I think the mantra of the film is that trauma can manifest in different ways. Obviously, with this character, with Peter Novak, it turned him into somebody obsessed with justice in the very Batman sense, right? Because it's like all he is his job. He sleeps in his office. Peter, you look like hell. He's all stubble, right? But the other way is the awful like hat on a hat Carl Rudolph Starger, who's like 9 serial killers in one.
It's like he's the Voltron of serial killers. It's funny because I hadn't seen this movie in so long that I kind of forgot a lot of the basic. I guess I kind of vaguely remembered there was something about the mind of a killer, but this movie came out in 2000. It was New Line Cinema put this movie out.
The movie was a hit too.
It was a hit.
Yeah.
This movie, New Line, the house that Freddy built, famously. And I realized one day we're going to do the Freddy movies. We'll get to them. But I will say that I realized this movie's entire storyline seems like an extrapolation of the last 15 minutes of Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare.
No. Yeah,
we're going
for sure.
to go into the mind and memories of this killer and see some of the things that happened to him as a kid and his life. That
we don't know what influenced the guy to write this story. It could have been Freddy's death.
Mark Prostrovich is like, hey,
he's like, no, I mean, like, well, yeah, it's possible, but also like it's the same company too. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying. And
because I also thought of it, by the way, because there's a part where Dylan Baker says, where is it? It's like the old wives' tale. You die in the dream, you die in real life. I'm like, well, it's also like all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies that this company.
No. So yeah, things get so dangerous. We haven't even gotten to her getting into his mind, but things get so dangerous that, like, yeah, the idea of you can lose yourself and die in the dream, like that gets introduced halfway through the movie. You're like, what? Because that was never part of the rhetoric at the beginning. Okay, so she goes in. He gets brought in. He's comatose. She goes into his mind. They're trying to find the location, anything that gives them a hint of the location of this girl who's going to drown. The clock's ticking. So interestingly enough, they were like, he does it over 40 hours. So we only have a few hours left. So what we see of her turmoil in the cell that's rising water feels like a flashback.
Right.
Like her waking up in the cell should have happened the day before. Like given the time frame. So it is weird that they did it that way because that's not taking place at the same time as the rest of the movie. I feel like we're seeing that spread out over 2 days, and he obviously makes it in the end, and she helps save herself with the pipe, but like we jump back a few times. But yeah, so we go into his head. Guess what? It's all fucked up. Right. It all looks like a music video, a lot of visuals. It's a lot of great costuming, and it's all and then we've got spoilers, I guess, for Hannibal season 2, because not only is there horse, there's vivisectioning.
There's a vivisection moment. Also, it's like I don't know. It's just like the movie goes to like, everything is like obviously turned up to 11 in this movie. So it's like, look, he is a horrific killer who gets sexual gratification from his kills. And then it's like, oh, his dad like shoved his face in his mom, who wasn't his mom's, crotch, and said that's a place of evil. It's just like, this is not a subtle movie.
And then also, he burned him with an iron, all this stuff. Everything terrible happened to him. But also we learned that this Whelan's infraction started when he was baptized, because water brings it on, and that's the first time he started having seizures. And I should Google it more to learn more about it. But yeah, it's basically when your schizophrenia is brought on by sort of a virus in your mind instead of other ways. It's sort of a viral infection. And yeah, so it's where are we in? Okay, so yeah, there's a horse gets cut. There's like a room with doors that reveal like his various like human sex dolls. There's a bodybuilder woman, and basically J-Lo gets knocked out and presented to Starger, who this is more costuming because he's got this great flowing cape that goes up the walls so that when he walks off of his throne, it sort of like goes behind him like an extension
like
of himself.
Curtains. It's so striking. Like, again, you can see why this guy makes a great video and commercial director. It's just funny. Like, I'm like, I just because D'Onofrio, I did not remember all the wild looks D'Onofrio had in this movie, and they are very wild and memorable and really kind of cool on their own. I don't know if I buy that they're all manifestations of this guy, like in his like this character. That these are all his like mental, I guess, versions of himself.
Oh, Eric, why don't we go into your mind? I bet we find some.
Some
some kings and some clowns and some
costume
like
designs in my head.
It's just all Halloween Horror Nights mazes in your head. That's the thing.
Okay, that'd be cool. All right.
And then then basically she gets so freaked out that she's like actually jumps herself out, right? So that this way she and Vince Vaughn can actually have some scenes together, talking in between and before going back in. It all takes place over a few hours too, because time is of the essence. And this is when she goes back in. Also, they did also tease at the beginning, didn't mention this. They teased at the beginning that there's a third virtual reality bed because they tried joint therapy. They had tried having two therapists at first. So this opens it up for Peter going in to save her when she is basically captured. And when he puts the collar on her neck, because that's the other thing. The third hat in the pile of hats is that he makes collars for his women and puts them on them.
Yes.
Eric is so mad.
Well, I'm reading through my notes and some of these.
You just like
Matt, one of my notes is, what the fuck even is this?
I mean,
that was after I was actually what I wrote is J-Lo in nun-like robes with the white is super silly. What the fuck even is this?
I mean, if you're just gonna quote the back of the DVD.
That was my first pull quote.
Yeah. So then, basically, it's a whole thing where he goes in to save her, and he winds up because she's in danger of dying because she can't tell fantasy from reality, and he winds up being tortured in a horrible way, like
in a horrible way, yes.
Horrible way of like
cranks his guts, like
I don't know what you call it. It's like on a turning spit, and his intestines are being wrapped up over it. It's very Freddy Krueger. Without the puns, and he's and the Pop Goes the Weasel music is going at like a, what do you call it, Jack in the Box. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think, when did this come in Vince Vaughn's career? As far as he's in the same place, I think, that like Owen Wilson's at. This was after Swingers, which was his breakout movie, after
The Lost World. And so, yeah,
which was a funny role, but yeah, played, that movie was definitely played for his charisma. This is after
Psycho, of course.
Oof, and after Clay Pigeons too, which was another, like, I think that was like another sort of in A Cool Dry Place.
But
he'd been trying his hand at dramas,
and none of them had really broken out. Yeah.
And then he would still, until Old School hits 3 years later,
which is his return to like pure comedy,
because he even played another psycho in Domestic Disturbance. Remember that movie with John Travolta? That's right. He was doing drama for a while, and then basically after Old School, it was all comedies for the next decade. Until like Brawl in Cell Block 99, which is a fucked up movie. All right. So then basically he rescues her, but this is when and then they finally get anyone who's ever seen a movie can gather I feel bad that he didn't pick up this clue because he's supposed to be a great detective at the beginning. He literally looks at the contraption, the hook contraption in Starger's basement, and sees that like weird Carver Industrial logo on it.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we wind up seeing in the dream later. I almost wish it wasn't at the beginning, because then you just feel bad that everyone missed it when it should be like, hey, let's follow up on this company.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is a problem I really have with the script, is like, there's that, and B, it feels weird to me. I mean, I understand that J-Lo's storyline is ultimately about like her empathy for the kid version of him, but it is funny to me that it's like, we need her to go in there and get this info about where this girl is trapped, and then it's not her who does it. Like Vince Vaughn's the one who goes in and joins her and gets. It just seems like I wish.
Well, it's weird because he had seen the logo. He's the only one that would recognize it in the mind.
Right.
But yeah.
I feel like there's a way to connect her more directly to that.
That's a good point. Also, I think that she should have been asking more questions. Like, where's Julia? Right. Like the whole time.
Yeah, by the way, where's that girl that's going to die?
Ask the bodybuilding woman. Ask the sex dolls. Like, where's Julia?
Have you seen Julia?
Have you seen this woman? But yeah, so he leaves the body so he can go save Julia, race against time, helicopters to Bakersfield. She stays in. Then this is the thing. She brings Starger into her mind, where she is the warrior, and then she gets to use a crossbow, and she gets to rip out his nipples, and like
I did like that. I wrote the big nipple clamp thing being torn off. That was
and then she gets to beat him up, and she gets to kill him with a sword and all that stuff. So she gets to be she should bring the kid into her world too, and like it's like, look, I can fucking kill you, kid. But yeah, then basically she kills this evil king version of Starger, and then saves the boy by sort of like euthanizing him, like back into the baptism pool, and drowns him and kills them both. Peter saves Julia. She's crying. She holds on to him. He's like, you're okay. You're okay. I feel like that's not true at all. And we'll never be again.
You'll be fucked up for life.
I mean, he could say you're alive. That's true.
Yeah.
It can't
they
be
give
refuted.
her. I mean, they do, and they she gets her own little thing as far as like she figures out a way to get some air. So
she gives herself some extra minutes that helps him save her. Right. Exactly. And
because by the way, I feel a lot of sympathy here for what was her name, the actress's name? I just said it and now I'm forgetting. Tara Subkoff, because she's alone for like this entire movie. Like she doesn't have anyone to act off of, and she's just getting water poured on her. I'm like, this must have been super unpleasant to
and it's very wrenching role. She has to be so distraught for the entire time. Then she does get one scene with D'Onofrio because he gets to actually capture her, but that's it. Oh, and
not capture her.
Vince Vaughn at the end. Okay, so then actually then we get Catherine and Peter at the end, sort of saying, "Hey, nice work. I'm keeping. I'm
okay. You're okay.
I'm okay. You're okay." And then that's when she's like, "Hey, the reversing the feed, the crossing the streams, it works. So I'm going to use that with Coma Kid." And then she's able to bring Edward into her world. And we assume that it all leads to a happy ending. But there's the Cell 2, Eric, dun, 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 which is not connected to this movie at all. But there was the Cell 2 that came out, almost 10 years later on DVD release. So why so soon? Striking while the irons
look. I mean, what was I've been joking about the. It's not called Eraser 2, but there's that new Eraser movie, Eraser Reborn, I think.
Oh, this sounds terrible. Oh, this is awful. No, I'm just reading what the serial killer does in this movie.
Oh, no.
First of all, he calls himself the Cusp, which I feel like another pass needs to be taken on that name. Not by the writer of the movie, by the killer himself. Of like that, there's better names out there. He murders his victims and then revives them over and over again until they beg to die. That sounds terrible. Okay. No one's in that of any note except Frank Whaley. I don't know anyone else. Speaking of second movies, did I tell you that I saw Freeway 2 Confessions of a Trick Baby like 3 weeks ago at Alamo?
No.
Okay. So because you were just bringing up Freeway,
Yeah.
Which is a good movie. Freeway 2 is not, though it is fun to watch with a crowd and just be like, what the fuck? Like it's got Natasha Lyonne and but yeah, Freeway 2 has nothing to do with Freeway except that it continued the director's fucked up modern fairy tales, because this was supposed to be Hansel and Gretel.
Right. Yeah, I've read about it, but yeah, I've never seen it.
Strange movie. Anyway,
a couple other last thoughts I had on this. It's funny, you mentioned that there's imagery that is very evocative of the Losing My Religion video. There was one part that looked so 90s music video to me, which was when Vince Vaughn first goes in and the three women are sitting on the sand and they all like scream up. It just was like very like, just it felt like a image you would see in a music video from that era.
Oh, yeah. It was like, well, he didn't do the Perfect Drug video.
No, but that sort of thing, or Come to
Mark
Daddy.
Romanek, who also directed movies, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Didn't he do
Arlington Road?
Arlington Road, yeah.
And then also the use of Mersey Dotes, a song that I only know from Twin Peaks. So like always kind of associated with darkness.
That's true. It is an actual childhood like weird nursery rhyme song, so it's not like it was made for Twin Peaks, but yeah,
it's like a novelty song that has now been absorbed into like creepy killer. Like that's what we're gonna use this song.
Well, it's kind of like after Lady in White, I can never hear that Bing Crosby. Have you ever heard a dream walking? Well, I did.
That's Nightmare on Elm Street 2's song. So yeah,
no, it is. It's both. So that's why it's like I've only heard that it's a standard like classic song for decades. I've only heard it in like two scary movies.
Oh, that's right. We didn't even talk about when you went to Nightmare on Elm Street 2 at Alamo a few weeks ago.
That wasn't at Alamo. That was at Texas Theater. So Texas Theater is where Lee Harvey Oswald was apprehended.
Oh.
And it shows regular movies, also art house movies, and also like old revival movies. Like they have events. So I'm going to see Scream there with Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard in next week. I went and saw The Crow there with April, where James O'Barr spoke beforehand, because he's local.
Okay.
He lives around here. So yeah, we went and saw Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with a sort of demonic, scary burlesque show beforehand.
Okay.
That was like, it started for like the first half hour was this burlesque show, and then it leads into, and then they do this monthly, because last month they did it with The Craft, or this month I think it was, and then next month I think is something else. So yeah, they do it with like scary movies.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and I know we've gotten off topic of the cell here. I know you said you hadn't seen that in forever, but it's
since the 80s. I had not seen that.
It's always a good audience movie, so I hope you had a enjoyable time watching.
Oh, I did. It was very good. A spider bit my leg, and I still have the scar from that.
Oh,
night.
Dang! Okay.
Some big ass spider, because it hurt like hell, and it took forever to heal. And I see the fang marks still.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Well, they do promote that theater as featuring live spiders. So.
Yeah, live spiders, live burlesque.
Halfway through each movie, they unleash
the spiders. Yeah.
Right.
That's what 4K actually means.
Yeah, it's Nightmare on Elm Street 2, the 4D experience.
This is like, I can't wait for Avatar.
When all the balls are flying at the coach, it's like they just start chucking balls at the guy.
He was very calm when that was happening too.
It's
like, oh no, balls again.
That's how he was gonna go one day.
He's like, oh man, I always knew this was happening. Yeah, he was so calm when everything around him's just poltergeisting all over the place. He's like, what the hell?
Well, I can say that on our schedule, our next big horror franchise is not Nightmare on Elm Street, but we will get there someday since we've been referencing it.
Well, also it's kind of like no rush, because it's not like we're
there's
heading
nothing
toward a movie
coming. Yeah.
Right.
One day. One day.
All right. Well, that was The Cell. Eric hated it, and I feel bad that I made us watch it.
No,
All right.
no, I don't. I really, it's not like, again, I wasn't like hating life watching it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I didn't see this for 22 years, and now I'm okay. And in 22 years from now, I'll revisit it again and see.
We
Third time's a charm.
We didn't even talk about J-Lo that much in this. I just think this just sort of gets lumped in with what I consider to be like the interesting films she was making. Not necessarily good films, I guess, in this case, but like interesting ones she was making pre Wedding Planner. What was that in her first big rom-com?
I think it was. I'm looking at her.
She hasn't made like
because The Wedding Planner is the next movie after this.
Yeah, and so basically it's like Wedding Planner, Made in Manhattan, Monster-in-Law were big hits for her in the aughts, and yeah, I mean it's not like she became the queen of rom-coms like Sandra Bullock or something like that, but yeah.
But no, it is interesting that it's like after Selena and Anaconda kind of make her a star. And then she has like kind of like an edgier couple years with like, I say edgy, that means a lot of things, just like working with different, these sort of notable
even that Blood and Wine movie was with Nicholson was like,
right.
Like a different off.
And
movie.
U-Turn with Stone and even Out of Sight, which again, we said was Soderbergh's like first true mainstream movie. And then this, it's like she was said that was kind of the phase of her career. And then it kind of shifts after that into a lot of the rom-com stuff. And of course, right after this is when it's going to also, not right after, but a couple years after this is she's going to be in the first relationship with Ben Affleck. And they're going to make 2 movies together that are not successful and kind of become part of, way overblown, media wise. And yeah.
Tangenting here, which is not something this episode does not need anymore because we're right at the end. But
Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Yeah, I am so happy that she and Ben Affleck are back together. I'm rooting for them so hard. I'm so happy they're engaged and that hopefully they can get married again this for real and not call it off. And I'm just happy for both of them. And I
mean, like I want people to be happy too. So
I want those two to specifically be happy.
All right. More than anyone else.
More than any other 2 people. I want them to be. Geely was like a weird, like, hey, remember when Martin Brest made these acclaimed movies? Let's bring him back. And then he did shit. Like,
yeah.
Because didn't he do Son of a Woman? What else did Martin Brest do?
Well, of course, Beverly Hills Cop and
no, but yeah, he had a huge run in the 80s.
Yeah.
And like Midnight Run, it was so good. And then like Geely was the last movie he ever did. He's not dead even. So it's like Geely was it. And,
no, it's funny because he one of my favorite movies that I watch all the time and that this year I've seen twice in the theater, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because 40th anniversary. Matt, I missed one screening last night at the TCM Festival, and there's another screening that's going to be happening at American Cinetech that I'll be out of town for. But again, it's like basically I can see Fast Times like every month this year in LA. His 40th anniversary is a popular movie. They keep showing it, but Martin Brest is in Fast Times. He has a small role as the coroner when they go to the science class at the end, shows the dead body. And it's funny. So Amy Heckerling did a Q&A. Paul Thomas Anderson moderated with her one of the screenings I went to, and they talked about him because like he's like one of her best friends. Like, oh, Marty Brest. And I guess there was like Paul Thomas Anderson knows him too. So again, I guess I'm reiterating you're not dead, just not making movies because he's hanging out with Amy Heckerling still. But
hanging out with Heckerling.
Don't need to make another movie after Geely.
All right. Until next week when we do Hustlers and wrap up our Jennifer Lopez marathon. Everything is possible, but nothing is real, especially inside the cell. And Shakma.
Shakma.